I'm the Irish guy, and yes, okay, this video is about two things. One is Brighton appointing Roberto De Zerbi. I mean, I put out a poll on Twitter, and a lot of you didn't want the video. It said, y'all sounded like you'd sooner French kiss a beehive than listen to me wail on and on about Brighton, like a scorned ex who keeps demanding child support. I get it, okay? But I'm sorry, I have to. There is a niggling part of my brain which makes me want to vomit out my thoughts on the latest hipster coach. I will cover that in the second half of the video, but first, Sadio Mane. Right now, he's an absolute Bayern Munich flop. Well, that's what the fans are saying.
Mane is so bad at football. Need this guy sold to Guangzhou Tigers in the January transfer window. Never in my life as a supporter of this club have I seen an attacking player as bad on the ball as Sadio Mane. He cannot dribble, he cannot link up, he cannot stay on side to save his life. An absurdity of a football player. Big mistake to get him. Seriously consider selling him next summer and get a proper striker. He is not a winger, he is not a striker, he isn't suited for Bayern.
Oh, how quickly the story changes. It was only last week that everyone was talking about how the Liverpool owners clearly had the intelligence of melted cheese. I mean, to sell Mane this summer for less than 40 million quid. But lad, there's a man who's now played 800 minutes for Bayern Munich and yes, 5 goals. But lads, absolutely 0 in his last 6 games. This is a very slow start. But at least the Bayern are winning games every week. Then it's fine. Just allow the Senegalese forward to just settle in, right? But the Germans haven't won any of the last 4 league games. I mean, they just lost at Augsburg and are currently sitting 5th in the league. I'm sorry, but 5th after 7 games. Just 12 points taken from an available 21. Listen, yes, Leroy Sané started slowly when he swapped Man City for Bayern, but at least the team were still winning. You know, like an unstoppable train in the summer 2020. But Mane, oh, this is not a good look. Against Augsburg, he had less shots on goal than Manuel Neuer. In a goalie wearing the gloves at the other end of the pitch. Their defeat to Augsburg was the first time in 87 games that Bayern Munich did not score in a Bundesliga match. I mean, is he finished? Is he done? I feel sorry for the man because he's not a centre forward. He's an explosive winger who cuts in and unleashes rockets into the top corner of the net. Yes, he did fit it up front for Liverpool last season out of necessity, and he did well, but I'm sorry, he's directly replacing one of the greatest centre forwards of all time. Forget the fact he nearly signed for Blackburn Rovers. Lewandowski is one of the all-time GOATs. And so, when an utter legend and megastar like him leaves the club, he needs to be replaced by someone whose life work it is to play as a striker. But Mane, he's been a winger for 90% of his life. So suddenly, having to fill the void left by Lewandowski, someone who should have won a Ballon d'Or. No, Mane is a false 9. What Bayern need is a real 9. And it's not even like he's a young striker who can learn his trade and carve out a long Bayern career before being sold for a hefty profit. No. He turns 31 years old before the season is out. This man is a short-term fix, just a quick stopgap. And so yeah, if he doesn't catch fire this season, then I can see Bayern selling him next summer. I mean, he'll only have 2 years left in his contract. But, I mean, have Bayern made a mistake? If you want a short-term stopgap, quick fix, someone to score goals, you know, just a giant chunk of sellotape to stick over the Lewandowski wound, then why didn't they just go and sign Cristiano Ronaldo instead? You know, arguably the greatest goal scorer to ever live. I fit and motivated Ronaldo. If he had made the switch in June, he could have had a full Bayern pre-season and be ready to compete in the 5th country of his career. I mean, can you imagine the fire Ronaldo's throat at wanting to add the Bundesliga to his Premier League, La Liga and Serie A titles? I mean, there would have been a very real chance for Ronaldo to win the 6th Champions League of his life. Why? Why didn't Bayern just make this move happen? Choosing to instead go with Mane, who yes, is another exceptional footballer, but let's be honest, we all know that Bayern next summer are going to buy an out-and-out top-class centre forward. Someone like Dusan Vlahovic or even Patrick Schick. I mean, again, if they wanted, Romelu Lukaku was available this summer, as was Gabriel Jesus. 2 purebred goal scorers who, I'm sorry, would have eaten the Bundesliga for tea. And what would have been fashionable for German clubs to notice young English talent? I wouldn't be surprised to see them throw a checkbook at Roma for Tammy Abraham next year. But lad, we've seen before, when Liverpool superstars decide they want to move on and leave the Jurgen Klopp era behind, it never works. I mean, Philippe Coutinho was a Barcelona flop, who now is having to settle for trying to finish 10th in the Premier League whilst living in some run-down Birmingham flat, which probably stinks of mouldy sausage rolls. But listen, okay, that was a huge £120 million price tag, and it was a massive boost to Phil trying to replace Andres Iniesta at Barcelona. You can see why he might have struggled, but it's Gini Wijnaldum. His failure has shocked me. This guy wasn't a maverick, inconsistent flair, luxury player like Coutinho. No, he was a monstrously consistent steel henchman in Liverpool's midfield. one of Klopp's prime examples of a mentality monster. So moving to a weak league in France, I expected him to absolutely conquer that division. Instead, he was just a soggy cheeseburger who has since been loaned to Roma, where he instantly broke his leg, and pretty much confirming that he'll go to his grave having played in just one World Cup back when he was 23. So when he failed in a walkover French league, to me that just screamed out that maybe, just maybe, there is a post-Liverpool curse. I mean, if Klopp allows you to leave, it's probably because he can smell the end of your career. Even the useful squad players like Xherdan Shaqiri. Don't forget, while in a Liverpool shirt, he was scoring 2 goals in one game against Man United and providing assists in a Champions League semi-final against Barcelona. And yet the guy was supposed to be the maverick talent replacement for Memphis Depay at Lyon. No, he played 11 times. Mostly looked like Snorlax on the toilet seat and was quickly binned off to the MLS as if he was just an empty packet of hula hoops. I mean, Emre Can left Liverpool for the bright lights of Juventus, and looking back on that decision, he must now feel like punching himself in the mouth. I mean, let's not forget, Roberto De Zerbi completely left him out of their Champions League squad, and he's now just an underwhelming Borussia Dortmund fielder. I mean, he left Liverpool 5 years ago, so you'd assume he's about 34, right? No, he's 28. 28 years old. He chose to walk away from Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool aged 24. Oh, Emery, what have you done? And so with Mane, I know it's early days, but honestly, it does look like he's just another player that curse has destroyed. Poor Sadio, one of the modern day legends of the sport. And yet now, in front of goal, he looks about as threatening as a constipated pig. Listen, Mane is a top class footballer, but I don't think Bayern Munich is the right fit. And so next summer, yeah, I can see a Premier League return. So maybe Newcastle United. I mean, if the club can offer him a £150,000 a week salary, then yeah, stuff him on that right wing and let this man be the club's talisman, the leader of an ambitious new project, trying to claw their ways into the Champions League, right? Maybe. And you might think that, no, Mane's second move after Liverpool is not going to be Newcastle. No way, no chance, stop talking. Oh yeah, well, when Coutinho left Anfield, who'd have thought that his next permanent move would have been to Aston Villa? And Wijnaldum, his second permanent move after leaving Liverpool, is probably going to be going back to PSV Eindhoven. Or maybe get a move to someone like Galatasaray. I mean, even going back into the past, Fernando Torres left Liverpool as the best striker in the world. Yeah, his third permanent move after Anfield was heading off to a relegation battle in Japan. Anyway, moving on, and do you smell that? Yeah, it's just the pungent stink of football hipsters worldwide nibbling on their morning pigeon sandwich whilst wearing a 3-piece suit made entirely from imported Swiss donkey skin. And yeah, all of them right now are dribbling on their feet. For the last 3 years, Brighton and Hove Albion have been the one place for elitist football nerds to call home. Honestly, Graham Potter, despite, yeah, looking like a middle-aged librarian who collects postcards and irons his socks, well, to these hipsters, he was their king. Honestly, go into one of their bedrooms and you'd probably find a photo of this man's face above their bed. You know, next to their giant collection of gender-neutral Beanie Babies. You just know they eat their eggs Benedict out of a beret whilst watching Dexter's Laboratory on their BlackBerry phone. Anyway, since Potter packed his bags and left Brighton for Chelsea, oh, these hipsters didn't know what to do. But yeah, I assume that Brighton would soon see a huge chunk of their internet fan base desert them now, with disillusioned hipsters now more likely to chew off their land's foot than step foot back in the Amex now, right? I mean, honestly, can you imagine if a modern day caveman like Sean Dyche walked through that door? Yeah, those hipster fans would be on the verge of shoving a footstool down their throat. But no, don't worry, Brighton. You've got an even more hipster coach now, Roberto De Zerbi. And I just know that once again, listening to pundits wax lyrical about Brighton and Hove Albion is going to make me feel like setting my earwax on fire. But listen, remember when Sam Allardyce said that if he was called Allardyce, he would be the manager of either Inter Milan or Real Madrid? Yeah, I think if any of the fans at the Bernabeu saw the former Bolton and Sunderland boss unveiled, someone would probably turn up to the ground wolfing down a Big Mac with pockets stuffed with melted Kit Kats. And yeah, those snobby fans would probably get sick on the floor. But he did have a point. Listen, the press are the ones who like to build up an English manager, yes. But it's the supporters, it's the fans who get carried away by a mysterious foreign manager with a jazzy name. I mean, let's be honest, the name Graham Potter sounds about as exciting as a bowl of microwave Special K. And the fact he does look a bit like Gareth Southgate's twin meant that, yeah, he had to fight to earn his cred. I mean, he doesn't exactly look cool. I mean, lads, both he and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer were coaching in Scandinavia. Well, Molde boss, Ollie was offered 3 Premier League jobs, with one of them being the biggest in the country. I mean, Potter had to start in the championship in Wales, but De Zerbi, oh no. I just know that football fans are going to fawn over this guy, as if his face was made of pixie dust. Lads, you can tell he's a hipster flavour of the month, solely based on his playing career. Lads, look across the current Premier League managers. Most of them are either a centre back or a central midfielder, right? 2 positions which scream out leadership on the pitch. Well, De Zerbi, was a silky number 10. I'm sorry, what? No. He was essentially a trequartista who, probably needed to bring a cushion to the cinema. Honestly, look at him. If this guy wasn't involved in football, he'd probably be getting paid to dress up as one of Santa's elves at the mall. But honestly, how many silky playmakers go on to become top managers? I mean, it doesn't happen. Most of them, they think another way. They are mavericks. And a lot of them quite selfish. I mean, can anyone ever envision the likes of Adel Taarabt or Hatem Ben Arfa in the manager dugout? No, it'll be chaos. Both guys will probably be sacked within a week for, I don't know, spitting at a lunch lady in the eye. Even the nice ones, like Gianfranco Zola. Yes, this is football's nice guy who probably works part-time at a soup kitchen and donates all his Christmas presents to the poor. Honestly, he's the Italian Ned Flanders, but he's got the football tactics of a melted lasagna sandwich. Look, yes, De Zerbi is a progressive, ball-playing coach with an attack-minded philosophy, but just calm down. The reality is that he's a young 43-year-old manager, and this is his journey. His first job was becoming the manager of Darfo Bor in Italy's Serie D, taking the job in November 2013. They finished second bottom, getting relegated to what? Serie E? He then gets lucky and gets a job at his former club Foggia in Serie C, and gets sacked 2 years later. Then he gets his big break at Palermo in Serie A. Utter disaster. He took this job on the 6th of September 2016. He was gone in November. No wins in 9 games, 7 defeats in a row, and lying 19th in the league. That was hopeless. He was essentially Serie A's answer to Frank de Boer. Just a huge laughing stock. Someone who looked like he just gave Gimli a shave. He then somehow gets another Serie A gig at Benevento in October 2017. And yes, had been playing a nice adventure style of football, but they still finished bottom of the league. And let's not forget that once again, lost 8 of his first 9 games in charge. They got relegated with 21 points. And with an expensive waddling muffin like Bakary Sagna in defence. But lads, De Zerbi, clearly he needs a full pre-season, right? Otherwise he's just flapping around like a panicking swan in the bath. This is the 3rd time he's taken a job in the autumn after the season's already begun. And his record for doing that was taking 6 points from the first available 63. Listen, he did a good job at Sassuolo, taking the job in 2018 after they just finished 11th in the league on 43 points. So De Zerbi comes in and again finishes 11th in the league with 43 points. Utterly zero change in the result. It was identical. They sacked the previous manager because they didn't like 11th and 43 points. And he gives them the exact same thing. But the big difference was that their style of play was wildly different. I mean, lads, the previous year they'd finished 11th, yes, but they just scored 29 goals. In De Zerbi's debut season, they scored 53. How? How can you get your players to score nearly double the amount of goals and yet still not be able to improve them by a single point? How? Just how? In my head, that would prove that he's not able to see the game out. I mean, in his next 2 seasons, the goals kept on flowing, and they finished 8th twice in a row, which is good, but Sassuolo aren't exactly these tiny minnows. De Zerbi didn't create them in a petri dish, lads. Guys, back in 2016, they were finishing 6th in the league with Eusebio Di Francesco in charge, and was he a managerial genius? No, look at his career after Sassuolo. It crashed and burned. Sacked after less than 2 years at Roma. Then sacked after 8 games as Sampdoria coach. He lasted 6 months at Cagliari. And then just 4 matches at Hellas Verona. Right now, this managerial's career now lies at the bottom of a pit. Even though, like De Zerbi, he succeeded at Sassuolo. Yes, I know De Zerbi went to Shakhtar Donetsk and left them top of the league, but that's a club that already won 12 of the last available 17 league titles. It was his management performance in the Champions League which should make you vomit in your shoe. 6 games, 0 wins, but crucially, 12 goals conceded and just 2 goals scored. They couldn't even beat Sheriff Tiraspol from Moldova twice. I mean, the previous season, under Luis Castro as manager, Shakhtar were beating Real Madrid home and away. But here, a 5-0 loss at home, it wasn't great. Listen, on paper, De Zerbi is a decent coach and could be a very decent coup for Brighton. But if I was him, for the sake of his career, he should have just waited for Juventus to call. He is the Italian Graham Potter, who in this country, I mean, the media just willed him into the Chelsea job. I think if De Zerbi had held out, he could have been the Juventus manager by Christmas. But instead, Brighton and Hove Albion. And let's not forget that hiring a highly rated young European coach with experience of managing in the Champions League. The last time this club did that, they were bringing in Sami Hyypiä in 2014, a man who'd done an excellent job at Bayer Leverkusen. Far better than anything De Zerbi's ever done. I mean, he even got them out of a Champions League group featuring, weirdly, Shakhtar Donetsk. Lads, the work he did in Germany was outstanding. I mean, Solomon Mill will probably tell you that Hibia is one of the best coaches he ever played under. And yet, he was sacked after 6 months at Brighton as they looked hell-bent on relegation to League One. I'm gonna call it, De Zerbi is another Hibia. De Zerbi is another De Boer. Highly rated young European coach whose reputation is about to crash and burn. Anyways, for one thing, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Alright, let me know, alright, about Mane, about De Zerbi. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.